Ah, here we go. Found it.
I'll record it.
Yeah, that's not anything.
Hey, Westworld.
And assorted tables. Is anybody on Roll20?
Yup.
About to be.
Yeah.
Can somebody roll a D147 for me?
Do it, somebody. I'm in the kitchen.
28.
Damn, that was fast.
8. I believe we've already done that one. Reroll.
Uh, 124.
124. Oh, that's pretty interesting. This is a good question. Okay. So everybody's online?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So the pregame question today is, has your character ever had a parental figure who was not related to them? Or what about a dependent figure that was not related to them?
Well, for a time,
Oh,
I
oh
was
no.
the father of Roy. He was
No,
Oh,
no.
one of my good boys who always
Whoa.
did what I said without question. I don't know where he's gone lately, but I will find him. I will.
We're gonna kill this guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we get to hear his death rattle.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, maybe. Play cards right.
Quick question before we keep rolling with this. Kevin or Morgan, would either of you be okay to do game notes for today? Because Aeneas is busy with the terrarium.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so adopted, parental, or dependent figures. Not adopted, but you know. Avaline?
He's unmuting. Hold on.
My dad's a bear. My mom's a Nova.
That's true.
Wait, your dad is a Nova?
Her dad's a bear.
My dad's a bear. My mom's a Nova.
Wait, how
These
does...
these are my adoptive parents.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they Torvin and Starfire are basically my adoptive parents. They're the people in the Children of the Warp who basically took me in after my family was killed.
Did I know that one of your parents was a Nova?
She's on the ship.
I think it's only came up like once, very briefly.
She's been staying on the Gemini. And yeah, not literal parents, but
Right.
I swear I have her on the map here somewhere.
I don't think that
She's
Nova
pink
can...
and she's got a broom.
Yes.
I don't think that Nova can have children with non-Nova.
Yeah, I don't think Nova have cells.
I don't think Nova have
Genitalia.
cells. I think the mating process would cause too much radiation exposure.
Okay. Okay. Any dependents that any like found family children?
I guess it depends on this how this chapter wraps up.
Sure. Okay. All right. So not answering for Mate because Mate isn't with us right now, but how about Bigsby and/or Pascal?
Yeah, I would say their dependent group is all of the like wayward robots that are in the village now. They've kind of formed their own little like familial unit.
Found family.
Yeah, and I imagine that Pascal has more of that, like, parental role than Bigsby does.
Definitely. Pascal is probably the only one with a group chat that has everyone in it.
Okay. Morgan, do you want to answer for Ruda?
Yeah, one time Ruda took like a young wrestler under his wing named Stevie, and Stevie was killed in a freak wrestling accident, but
Oh my
Ruda
god!
did everything that he could to make Stevie Little Ruda. And Stevie, oh boy, did Stevie want to become Little Ruda. And that was a story for another time.
Oh my god.
That's surprisingly dark and sad.
Ruda has no regrets. It wasn't his fault.
Okay.
He died with honor.
He died with honor.
Ruda sleeps very soundly at night.
In the wrestling,
Sleep soundly
in
at night.
the game of Wrestling Thrones, there's
We
you either win or
all
you die.
deserve to have the honor of dying to a triple suplex.
Yeah. I mean, in the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die.
Okay,
No,
so now,
no.
now I'm thinking of Ruda more like a Klingon. Like, if you have somebody die just as an old man, that's the bad thing. But if somebody dies in battle, fuck yeah, man, let's party.
Yeah. There may or may not have been demonic things involved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
this will all be good until the Vice documentary comes out in like 10 years.
now, Kevin did just say triple suplex, and I don't know what a triple suplex is, but I'm definitely imagining one person grabs you around the waist, and then somebody else grabs that person around their waist, and then somebody else grabs that person around their waist, and then all three of them bend backwards simultaneously like a giant horrific.
But
That's
that's
like
the
a
thing.
centipede
It's like
suplex.
every single one multiplies the force and the speed that it happens at. So it's like it's like
Or-
a suplex bullwhip.
It could be if there was a 4-on-4 match going down, 3 people got suplexed onto one person.
On top of the I see.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like being drawn and quartered. 3 people try to suplex you at the same time and like pull you in all different directions.
Okay. Awful.
Jesus.
Plus is neat.
What is this, medieval times?
And I think our last one is Amil.
Oh, I don't actually think so. I think that like I was formed the supernova way, and I've just been like bopping around, and I'm like familial with all nova, but like not like one of them is like explicitly a parental or like familial figure.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a mentor or anything?
I could see there being like a mentor role.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Nova Pyme?
So I think that covers everyone. Now I think a good way that to start this episode is the party is walking out of the door. They have cleared away the barricade, and they're walking out the door back into the central like elevator room. And just as they're walking in with this 10-foot tall child behind them, Anwar gives Ruda one last good slap, and Ruda sits up and punches him, and then now somebody has to explain to Ruda what's happening.
What the fuck? Where are we?
Well,
Literal hell.
Ruda,
you
take
see,
this
we
shot.
were going up on the elevator, and you kind of caught some shrapnel to the noggin, so you've been out for a while. There's like a 10-foot tall child over here but she's cool with us now. This isn't Roy, by the way. This is just random narrator who doesn't really involve himself in the story talking.
Takes like a shot out of his pocket and like injects it.
Okay, yeah. So we do need somebody to be saying that. So we can say that
I think
Esquerez.
or Roy's drone, at least while somebody else is talking, Roy's drone flies over to Ruda and starts replaying video footage of
I like that.
basically the elevator ride up, the confrontation with what's her name? AND-T?
Yep. So yep. So this giant child here is named gracie-AND-T. She has two names. Her first name is her human name is Grace, and her network name is AND-T. AND-T. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And yes. Any questions?
What are we doing next? And this is as Bixby. Are we headed back to the village, or do you have something to turn in first? Also, what do we do with... And Bixby is kind of pointing towards gracie-AND-T. Not quite sure.
Okay, so I think Grace takes a second and goes, well, I guess I could go back to the village. I mean, I'm not in the same form that I was, but we can... How about we go back, we talk to the villagers, we fill them in on what's happening, and then once everybody has made peace with the situation, we come back here and we do some proper burials. Wait, hold on. Mike, how do terminals dispose of their dead?
I'm curious because do terminals, and I guess this question is directed at both. I get this is not an in-game thing. This is more to Zai and Mike. But would networked terminals and non-biological beings value the physical substrate that they're like, do they value like, silicone and rare earth metals that are used in the production of the computer chips, or do they literally only value the information that makes up their being, right?
And I think it's further complicated by the fact that networked terminals that are still part of the network, would have a very different opinion on it than non-networked terminals.
Yeah, I think...
What Roy is has a very different opinion of this action than what Mate and the others are. I'll say that.
So I'll say we value the data, but only because we know that that's what differentiates us from terminals that are, still a part of the network.
Right.
I would definitely say any kind of material. So like a lot of the robots that you see were kind of like mashed together from stuff, or when they got away, they had to be repurposed for something else. A lot of it has to do with, let's call it like a MAC address, and that like unique signature, that unique value is the thing that kind of like disappears from existence. So maybe holding on to some piece, like that's the reason why like non-network terminals now hold on to so many different parts, or like different things that they like hoard. It's a way to show like a physical remembrance. It's probably one of those things that they picked up over time from watching, millions of biologicals just go, hey, here's all this stuff I care about. Make sure you bear me with my PlayStation, like that kind of stuff.
Okay, so the memory cards don't have anything in them anymore because the process that they used to extrude the they were not capable of like making a copy of a network individual. They could go straight from terminal to body in the transfusion process, but they couldn't. It erased everything in the terminal's hard drive when they did so.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, if you guys want, you can go into the room that they did all the terminal butchering in and recover the hard drives, the now blanked out hard drives to take back.
Yeah, that's what Pascal was doing when they'd gone in there originally. It was to kind of salvage just some parts, like major like pieces that meant a lot to each of those robots, and Pascal would know because Pascal's basically met every robot that's joined the group at this point. So
I mean, it's not that many robots, and Pascal was living with them for like decades, so I imagine Pascal knew all of them fairly intimately. Okay, that's great. So, Auntie voted for go back to the village, fill everyone in on what's happening, and then decide what comes next from there. She's still kind of afraid that if they spend too long here, then some people from Red Corp are going to come after her again.
yeah, Bixby and Pascal would be fine going back. There hasn't been a check-in in a while, and Bigsby and specifically Pascal are just used to the other members of the group just checking in, like just with random factoids or, you know, with like newsletters that they've signed them up to, and they haven't been pinged in a while, so they would probably just want to go back just to check to make sure things are okay.
Now, when there's a disconnected network terminal newsletter, is that like you know how like some newsletters are you know, monthly and some newsletters are weekly? Is theirs kind of like by minute? Like, I imagine processors operate very quickly.
Yeah, there are just scripts that run that send these mailers out, like let's call it every 90 seconds. And you can kind of tell which ones have important information just by like parsing. Like, hey, no, this is, you know, some recipes for space linguine. We don't eat that, so it's nice to look at, but we don't need it.
I love the idea of these terminals becoming chefs. Okay. So is that the plan? Everyone's going to go back?
Yep.
Okay. So
what are we doing with that
that
giant robot that's downstairs? Is that coming with us?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to.
Is that yours now, Rory?
It's mine.
Okay.
No, I mean not that simple though. I mean Roy's suit is able to interact with it, but it still needs like a lot of repairs. So
Yeah.
I was thinking that we would take it back to the Galanga and deal with that more when it became more story relevant.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just dropped you guys.
I basically have a barbatos. Yes.
So I just dropped you guys on the map, the like courtyard map for this building. Yeah, so there it is still kind of a grisly scene, and I think there's a bit of
us there?
I thought I did.
Ooh.
Yeah, you guys might need to refresh, but you guys should be on
Oh,
the garage map, right?
yeah.
So a thing that I just thought of, Roy's disposition or demeanor toward that giant machine outside is similar to what you would see in an organic when they're caring for a very sick or injured person. So I mean, the machine outside hasn't demonstrated any sentience or sapience or anything like that, but Roy is treating it as if it does. And almost like if you ever watched Battlestar Galactica, there was a scene where like the chief was trying to figure out how to work on a Cylon Raider, and Boomer, it was just like, you have to treat it like an animal or treat it like a child, and she starts singing to it a little bit. Roy's not doing quite that, but it's like that level of. There's almost an air of nurturing that he appears to be doing.
There's a like intimacy.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think so. I think that gracie-AND-T feels a little bit weird about this scene because I don't think they have any regrets about getting revenge on this like objectively horrible organization that did terrible humanitarian atrocities. But I do think that, you know, now that the moment has passed, they are not comfortable looking at the carnage that they wrought. So I think they kind of quickly shuffle past to the gate and kind of avoid their gaze. Now, what happened with Esperez's father's corpse? I remember you guys did a thing where you put it in a crate with soil to kind of preserve it spiritually until you guys could get back and bury it.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar to everyone?
Yeah, I think that was the case.
It does.
Okay.
Roy was very critical of the action.
Yes. So, this, the giant mech has been repaired to a state that, Roy can pilot it. It is far from, you know...
Just for like transport, right? Like you could
Yes.
never, it couldn't be fought in or used for any kind of utility right now. It's just
Yes.
word.
But you can hobble along until you get picked up. Okay, let's see. And yeah, so Esperez also has this weird energy of well, everything is very different than he was expecting when he came down. But I think he's just in a state of like, let's get out of here. Let's head to town or back to the Gemini, regroup and figure out where everything's at, and then we can wrap things up. So he's off with Grace. Everyone else is good to go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. So Morgan, I want to know, how does Jagara react to seeing Ruda somewhat injured? I imagine this is something she sees fairly frequently.
Yeah. I mean, she's a little desensitized to it because but at the same time, they take care of each other when they're injured. So when Gerard was injured, Ruda was there to support her. And now that he was injured, she was there to support him, but like, he doesn't want her to be his mother. He's like, I'm fine. Let's go.
Oh, there's so much depth to this relationship. I just want to spend like a whole game just delving into it, but we don't have time. Okay. So, Ruda and Jagara, Roy and Mech that Zai can come up with a name for later, and everyone else, you guys all head out. Now, interestingly, we're in this situation where the ship, I think the Galanga has like just enough room to fit everyone's mechs in them, everyone's like little sub-vehicles and stuff, but it does not have room for all of that and one more giant mech. So I think if you guys want to put the new mech in there, Avaline will have to fly her helicopter separately to make room.
I can do that.
Okay. So what's the next stop? Back to the village?
Yeah, I think, and then we can try to sort out, like, because now, I guess now that we've secured the payload, where do we, I'm asking to the DM, like, where are we headed now? Like, do we have to report this back to, like, our boss, or what?
Well, your employer for this mission is Esperez, and he is. So yeah, I think probably the point where we like wrap that up with him personally is when you guys leave the gate. So incohatus. That's very good. Oh, no, I love that, Zai, because it is not the name that was given to the mech, but the name that the mech gave to itself. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know that I have them with me, but give me just a second. One, two, three, four. Okay, so as you guys are leaving, you see, you look out into the hill nearby that you guys kind of crouched behind when you were scouting out the area, and you see four bodies, four people. Do you guys, do you
Wait, so
guys
four
have
people,
like
standing or bodies on the ground?
they're standing on the hill, watching the building. Do you guys have like God, I keep wanting to say magnifying glass. Binoculars. do you guys have binoculars or something
I
similar?
mean, Pascal is a
yeah.
scout mech and
Telescopic
is
vision.
pretty much a binocular.
Okay.
And
So is
Roy's
it like
a scout, so
Okay, so is it like Pascal like zooms in with his camera and then like projects an image behind him for everyone else to see?
Yeah, that would definitely happen.
That's awesome. Okay, so you guys get a good look at this group. It is I think Roy was maybe the only person in the group currently that saw these people previously, but Roy, you recognize these children as the group that you saw in that mansion, that were like squatting in that mansion previously in the level. And they are all, you know what, I like this scene. Hold on, I'm gonna grab one more sprite here.
and yeah, these are the kids that I stole a thing from.
It was like a crown,
Yeah, I
right?
stole a crown
Yeah,
from
it was the
May.
crown.
Hold on, I'm getting a good sprite to really.
What was it, like a souped up BK Lounge king crown? Because that is
Yep.
totally what I have in my mind.
Yeah, it
Okay.
sure was.
It very much was. And I don't know why somebody had that in front of their mansion, but they did. Okay, we're gonna go with this one. So they have a truck behind them that they're all kind of like leaning against with their it looks like they have more traditional binoculars they have out, and they're observing the thing, and as soon as they have seen you leave and they, you know, saw that you saw them, they say something to each other. One of them puts a finger to their ear, like they're talking into a headset, and says something, and then they get in the Jeep and drive away.
curious.
Boop. Okay. So, you guys get in the Galanga and head to town? Head to the village?
I mean, I'm
Rotten
more.
children.
Pascal would like to know who. Does anyone know them?
And Roy would say to Pascal something like, "The rotten children came to play, but then left for another day."
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
Very good.
Pascal just nods.
So basically, Roy is intimating that there is something curious about those kids beyond them just like rolling up and looking at us. Like, and also Roy has in mind that crown that he stole from me. So I guess Roy would actually start to somewhat think. No, Roy would say to the party, Pascal, he would look at Pascal and say, "We should go back and check at your home."
Okay. Bigsby
There is
is
something there that they may be looking for.
Yeah, Bigsby is gonna start moving towards the Galanga, and Pascal will definitely follow. Yeah, they want to go. I think they're starting to feel uneasy here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone hops on board, heads over to the village?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys should be on the village map now. Let me grab... I think this is the only sprite that's not on there. Okay, so we're back at the village, and so what happens is you get in your spaceship and your helicopter respectively. Just out of curiosity, does anybody go in the helicopter with Avaline?
Well, not me.
Roy does.
That's
After
Okay.
loading the incohatus onto the Galanga, Roy actually left the Galanga and got on the helicopter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It moves faster through atmosphere than the Galanga. That's all. That's why.
Okay, so it's I think it's like an hour or two flight over at comfortable flying speeds.
He annoyed Avalon the entire time with slap offers.
What are slap offers?
In the last game, I was very upset by the warp room, and Roy offered to slap me to get me back up to speed, since that worked for Esperez. And so now Roy just thinks that slapping is friendship.
Okay, so
Walks up to me. "It's good to see you." Slap. No, I'm kidding.
So you get to the village and you park on the outskirts of town and start heading in. The village is, I think actually, it's very similar to how it looked when the party first saw it, where it looks completely abandoned. You know that this is their setup of to avoid detection. They can pretty easily go into like ghost mode. But Bigsby and Pascal, it's a little weird to you that they're not like coming out to see you now that you guys have returned. Do you do anything?
Yeah, Pascal's gonna like head down towards like the common area and start sending out like the signal ping that they send out to alert their friends that they've come back and that it's kind of safe to come out.
Okay, so I'm moving you two over. Yeah, so you come down. It's been cleaned up since the last time you guys were here. Uh, Nobody sends any responses to your pings.
Bigsby's gonna start heading towards the village proper, but I think Pascal would hang back and kind of start scanning the area because something feels off.
Didn't I get a sensor suite for my ship? My cat.
Oh shit, you did.
Yeah, can I just scan for like EM signatures that I would expect from like active active terminals?
Yes, absolutely. Can you give me a go to your character sheet and then go.
I actually think that might be a software.
So yeah, there's actually a role on. There's a role for your machine. So go to vehicle, and then okay, good. And it's the Galanga systems.
Are you sure it wouldn't be sensor?
Yeah, it would be sensor. Now I haven't updated that. You should probably have a +2 because of the system.
Yeah.
But
relevant if interesting.
Okay. So you're looking at a 15. That's very good. Okay. So some things you notice. There are not any active systems with a like computation footprint that would make sense for a terminal. I think there is one. I think there's one subtle EM signature coming out of the basement of one of the houses.
Okay.
And oh, and because you rolled a 15, which is incredible, you're able to detect that something with a multiple beings with a biological signature of like a biological heat signature have been in the area since after you guys left. You guys have been gone.
Able to detect their heat signatures like hours after? Did they leave like the area like minutes ago?
No, so I'm guessing it's not. It wouldn't actually be heat signatures, but it would be something else that you can track people based on. What I'm guessing is closer to a
sci-fi shit.
Yeah, I'm actually imagining something similar to what like a hound sniffs for when they do olfactory sensing, where you're picking up trace particles in the atmosphere that correspond to like biological life forms.
Gotcha.
So, do you have a piece of technology that's doing that search?
Yeah, he had the Galanga was updated with a sensor suite.
Okay.
That was last upgrade, and I rolled pretty good on it. I'm going to just relay this information. Like we might be dealing with a biological raid and abduction.
During that time, while Amil was telling everybody about that, Roy and Avaline were having a conversation. I guess they're not in the helicopter anymore, but Roy was asking Avaline about her teleportation abilities, and he asked her if she could teleport directly to wherever mate is, since she's familiar with his image. But it was found that she couldn't, and we discussed that she couldn't. We actually did have a conversation like while muted about this, so I just wanted to throw it in there. Roy jumps down from the helicopter or whatever, and this is why I asked Emil that question about the technology a second ago, and like he puts his hands down into the soil and looks up and says, "Still warm. He's right, someone was here."
Nice.
So I just had that scene from Pineapple Express in my head where he puts his hand in the mashed potato.
Yeah, I feel like we don't get to see Roy as a scout all that often, so cool. Okay, so
I think it's those fucking kids.
Yeah, it might be. So, Bigsby or Pascal. Pascal was searching for current life forms, and I'll circle back to that in a second. Bigsby checking the village.
Yeah, Bigsby is heading towards the village, like where, like, other folks should be proper.
So when you get the ping from Amil stating that there was like one signal coming out from the basement of one of the houses, the house, the coordinates that he gives you actually corresponds to something similar to like the town's hall house. It's a space that you guys have used for like indoor communal gatherings. It's sort of the partner to the like outdoor table space that you guys met in earlier. Do you go to check it out?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bigsby's going to get there first, and then other players can get there like a minute behind them. So you get on site. You head to the basement beneath the house, which is the area that you guys primarily used, because the upper part of the house was kind of just like a facade that's designed to look like ruins. And in the basement, there's a table that you guys would gather around, and there is a data chip on the table. I'm trying to be.
Is this like it was hidden, or is it so conspicuous that it was left on purpose?
Yes, it was left as a note.
All right, good.
Okay, so like this isn't a mistake. Like we're not finding this because we spent hours searching.
No, this is like the place that people would get together to have a conversation, and this is like the most dead center visible place. This is the like, you know, leaving a note for somebody on the kitchen counter kind of thing.
Yeah, Bigsby would bring the chip back, but would be very cautious about wanting to like scan this or use this themselves. There have been some cases where non-network terminals have been returned to the network by basically installing the equivalent of like malware or routing. So yeah, they don't just put, hey, guess what? That's safety protocol for robots. Don't just randomly insert USB keys into yourself.
I think this would be a great use for the Galanga's like what's it called, like VPN basically.
Yeah, that's like the on shift. Yeah. Bigsby would come back and tell Pascal, like, hey, this was here, and without a second thought, Pascal would want to bring it back to the ship, and you know, Amil, would you be fine using your ship to check this?
Yeah, I'm going to roll a software check, and the purpose is to set up that like VPN environment to closely resemble the actual like controls and of the Galanga, and then that way, if we plug it in and it suddenly starts to like, you know, plot course to XYZ place, we can then, it will tell the vehicle to go somewhere and then imitate the signal as if the vehicle, it will just lead it on.
That's clever.
Yeah.
Okay, so while Amil is rolling that, Roy, you're down in the soil, or you're kind of checking for any indication that somebody is still around, or checking for signs of what happened here, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Roy's looking for. I mean, we already know that there was some sort of organic life here, so Roy's trying to find out exactly what it was, when it got here, and if it's still here.
Yep. What kind of skills do you have? I know we've got a thing where you can use software anytime you're doing like detective shit.
Was decent.
I'm gonna circle back to that after Roy's thing.
Yeah, only my it's funny because I'm a scout, but I don't have very many skills that apply well to scouting. aside from like running around shit. 'Cause like both my intuition, well, guile is more trickery. So I think intuition and perception. I have a 2 in perception.
So
I can
as
roll
long as
that.
you're using your tool to do this, and this is still like a detective kind of tool, you can use your software roll.
Let me see what I get from perception, and
Okay.
if it's like a bad roll or not very high or whatever,
Then
then
you can
I'll
try again.
augment it with the disc drone rolling software.
Sure.
Okay. Hey,
Oh,
got
no,
yeah.
that's all right.
That's a good roll. Okay, so you do some investigative work and stuff that you notice. Okay, so there are signs of a struggle, which other people seem to have missed because they're kind of subtle. There's you're using tools, some like sensors and stuff like that to kind of help as you're doing your investigation, correct?
Mhm.
Right. So something you find is that there are residual signs of digital attacks, which is why nobody is noticing them by looking around visually. There are no like scorch marks or gouges in the floor or anything like that, but there's just stray like static kind of like data still floating in the air that you would use if you were like attacking an enemy like drone or something that you need to take out. You just like shoot it with like garbage code and try to overwhelm systems.
EGOS style.
Something like that. However, a 12 is a very high roll. So what I'll tell you with a 12 is that it actually seems something seems off about it. The places where these attacks happen are places that you kind of wouldn't expect them to happen. You would expect people to be like fighting out of doorways so that they have cover and stuff like that, and instead the attack happens like out in the open, and like the shape and direction of the attack don't entirely make sense, and something just seems a little bit off about this information that you're finding.
I think Roy would use the disc drone projector to start sounding an alarm. So there's a good going on, and it jets over towards Pascal and Bigsby, and,
Like
and
the
Roy.
Kill Bill intro.
In Roy's voice, it's saying a massive attack has occurred here. Malware has been distributed at an untold level. You may be in danger. There is something amiss. This information has been skewed to confuse our sensors.
Bigsby is going to basically do the cannonball special to Pascal and just rocket Pascal to the Galanga.
Shit. A lot
Okay.
of Wolverine special.
Yeah, and because Bigsby, I think, just is more in tune to what is going on around them right now,
Yeah.
but knows that it's important that Bigsby or that Pascal is safe. So,
Okay.
that without Pascal can't even object. Pascal is flying towards the Galanga right now.
Ruda has no idea what is going on, but all he sees is robots doing acrobatics, and he's really interested in that.
This is not for fun.
Which Ruda
Okay.
will soon realize.
Rude is still a little loopy. He's like, whoa, that looks really fun.
Oh man.
So, okay, so everybody is able to get back to the Galanga without without any like significant damage being done.
Oh, there's no more danger being down here on the ground. I thought that was like I'm only gonna get to save one of them.
No, it's not that. It's not that extreme. It's actually, it's
Did y'all get that chip that was on the table?
Yeah, we brought that back to the ship.
Okay, cool. I missed that part. My bad.
So, the stuff, it's not like you guys are, you know, being attacked right now, and it's also not entirely the same as, like, you're standing on ground zero of a nuclear bomb minutes after it went off, something like that. I think that the stuff that I was trying to communicate is a little bit more like, gun smoke in the atmosphere after a firefight. Like,
I thought we were still in danger of kind of like a residual attack or like another like EMP that can kind of like really harm us.
There's just some residual like signs in the atmosphere, if you know what to look for, that indicate that a digital conflict happened here.
We traced that digital signature. At this point, Pascal is beyond worried and needs to know, like Amil, is there any way that we can trace this? Like, can your ship sensors move past where we are here to kind of track this?
So this raises a good point of, you know, as all of this is happening, Amil's thing finally finished deciphering the message left behind on a it finally finished deciphering the message on the card. Do you guys want to read that message or take some other action before you do that?
Considering the weirdness of the digital gun smoke that we just sifted through, I think there should be some kind of protections or something, like isolated away from, like pull in a Dama, isolate that shit from whatever networks that we have could be affected by any kind of Trojan or malware trickery.
Yeah. And I believe that's the reason that you guys did it on the Galanga's like closed personal server, instead of on anything that you guys individually use.
Yeah. Amil, can you set up just like an extra buffer of protection just in case before we read this? Like, do you have any?
I don't know exactly how it would work, but I could just turn off the Galangas, like physically disconnect the like radio.
You just unplug the Wi-Fi.
He's like, sure.
I just I unplug the Wi-Fi, and then now in the off chance that it's able to like corrupt the I just if we can put the Galanga down like in like behind some trees where it's like really covered.
Yeah.
We could just unplug the electrical systems from the Galanga, and then there's literally nothing that it could like infect
Sure.
the rest of the ship.
Okay. So you guys do that. You get the Galanga set down, and you open up the message. Now, I should have planned this in advance, but actually, Mike, can we do a real quick chat and come up with the contents of the message?
Yeah. All right, let's go over to side note.
Yeah.
So how's it going, y'all?
Dude, Kevin, I haven't talked to you in a month.
Maybe Kevin disappeared with Bren.
Shit, Kevin's in on this plan.
Might be on like the same microphone or something.
Oh, that's right. They're on the same microphone. What's up, Aeneas?
Oh, you know, just hanging out. Got this giant terrarium to assemble.
I heard.
It is freaking huge. It took 2 people to get it up the stairs to us.
Wow.
It's like, I mean, it felt like it weighed like 200 pounds. It's just glass, man. Glass is fucking heavy.
Jesus.
Okay. I mean, it does make sense because glass is just like compressed silicates and dust and other things. So, like, hey, if you had a box of dirt this big, it'd be really heavy. But you have a box of compressed dirt.
I guess it adds up, you know?
Yeah.
I got an apartment.
Yeah, so where are you at? Like, I know you're in the PDX area, but...
Right now, we're staying east of downtown in a place called Brooklyn, and we're going to be living in the neighborhood called Boise. Is
Okay.
like right near an artist community. There's like so many artist communities here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's right near an artist community. There's like a little main street. We have a garden bed. We have fire pit. We have a deck. We have the whole house to ourselves. It's going to be kind of like living in an actual home. Great. The only thing I don't like about it is I'm wasting money renting instead of buying.
Yeah, that's kind of the game now, though.
Yeah, I wish it now. How's Cockeysville?
Cockeysville's fine. You know, doing our thing. I went to the Oxide office for the first time last week. That was interesting.
That's cool.
But I think I'm gonna continue to work remotely. Like, sorry if there's a lot of noise you're hearing.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. I don't hear anything.
Oh, okay. I'm still gonna work remotely, largely, just because, like, I mean, I don't see any reason not to. The nature of our work, like, it is way more comfortable to me to have control over my environment at home while I'm doing this shit than to be somewhere where, like, I'm thinking of office politics and all the other bullshit that goes along with being in an office.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have been like existentially mulling over my next move, whether that be like somewhere here at an office in Portland or somewhere anywhere in the world that could be remote.
Okay. Hold on just a second. Good thing Aeneas follows instructions. we're assembling this thing, and like I'm looking at it, I was like, this piece obviously goes here. She's like, no, it slots in a different place. I'm like, oh, okay. Trial and error isn't the best idea when actually constructing things.
Hello. Hey now.
Hello.
All right. So, Mike, why don't you tell us what is on the memory card when they finish deciphering it?
Yeah, so I think it's as simple as it is a message that makes sense to the group when they see it, because it is a message from Mate, kind of to Pascal and Bixby, just letting them know where they were headed. But the message itself has a series of digital signatures and coordinates, but all of it is written in network speak. So this is something that they should be able to understand. But it very clearly states that they've been taken and they've been taken to a location, but that location has kind of been corrupted.
Is that it?
So, but it's from who's it from?
It's from Mike to like Bigsby and Pascal.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is directly from Mate.
Yes, I said Mike instead of Mate.
Yeah, both of us.
It's a joint effort.
Is there anything else that I should be giving with this without any rolls or anything?
You don't need to do any rolls, I don't think. But isn't there a second part?
Oh, that there is specifically a section in the message that is for Avaline, that there is something for her that Mate is left behind, and that she should be able to find it in Mate's room.
How do you spell garbled?
Oh, sweet. What is it?
GARBLED.
That's what
When Mate says his room, he means his room on the Galanga, right?
No, on the... Wait, is the big ship the Galanga, or...
The big
Oh,
ship
the
is
Gemini.
the Gemini. That's what.
Gemini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then
It's on
yeah.
the Gemini.
I gotta go get that thing.
But I think it's very important to know that a lot of this message has been corrupted, and that there was a very clear intent to like reach out to the group, and that's kind of been like stymied by a third party.
And we have no chance of clearing up that corruption, do we?
I mean, you could try a software roll.
I will try.
Okay. Uh, 11 is pretty good, but the corruption is pretty deep. You're gonna have to give me some kind of aspect and fate point to make it work.
Let me take a look.
Something about your connection with Mate would probably do it.
Yeah, if anything, since like I kind of like trained Mate and then he basically superseded me, could we go along the lines of like I went back to my own training and remembered something that I taught him in passing, like, oh, why don't I try this and see if that helps?
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so then we're going to have you spend another fate point. I don't know what you're down to, but you're not going to be bottomed out, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so that tops you off, and it gets you to the number that you needed. What you find is so I think you remember a system that you taught, or that you and Mate had talked about with each other for when you guys were talking about different strategies for like coding and hacking, and Mate had mentioned that sometimes people will leave backups of their own code like inside of their own code, and remembering that, you're able to find a backup of the section that was corrupted of their message to the Bigsby and Pascal. And so you get a corrected version of that script. And Mike, do you want to give that?
Maybe. I'm sorry. Is this the contents of what's on the Galanga, or
No. Sorry. The so that one word that had been corrupted. The coordinates are gone, but there was one word.
Yeah, so it says originally that they were taken, but by deciphering, you found the key that you needed, and you went back through your old training, and you figured out that, oh, Mate sometimes likes to just spell things like backwards or inverted, or just add letters. and by messing around with the key, you figure out that it doesn't say taken. Mate has gone willingly to the coordinates that are, mostly corrupted.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Okay, so I think Esperez says, wait, I'm confused about something. If they went willingly, why is there a sign of a struggle?
Do you
Yeah.
think there was possibly a struggle afterwards?
Pascal and Bigsby are concerned because, like, who could have had the kind of just raw power that it takes to move that many, like, machines all at once without it seeming like, because you're basically telling us that the place is not disturbed, it's not destroyed in any way, like nothing is really disturbed, right?
Correct. There is signs of a like digital struggle that happened in the area, but those signs are kind of weird and not what you would expect. And otherwise there's no signs of like a physical conflict. So
Okay, yeah.
Do we have a role for like intuition?
What do we call it?
We do. The weird thing is that also that we discovered that it was organics who were the last one. Now, I mean, correlation doesn't equal causation and all that shit, but I think it's safe to assume that the organics are the ones who waged the digital attack.
Is there any way to know who the organics were?
Yeah, so can we have Pascal roll an intuition?
Yeah, 1 second.
I love how I've made the term organics into like a short form racial epithet.
Obviously, the organics did.
That's not.
Yeah, that's not great, but I would think that right now, some of their systems are maybe still under duress from being low power state because they think that they needed to protect themselves from what might have been another digital attack.
Yeah. So I think that Bigsby and Pascal would have I think they would have a very strong like emotional connection to this. And so they would probably be able to justify, having an advantage here. You rolled a 5. Do you want to re-roll?
Yeah. I would say that this is just them putting together their combined powers of investigation and kind of having done this stuff together for a long time now.
The fusion dance precedes the act.
I imagine it's one of those, like, two people who have known each other a long time having a conversation that doesn't... Oh my god!
Damn.
How is that possible?
Okay.
And
anyone
Roy
else
assist?
can help.
Yeah. I was about to say, can Roy assist here?
Sure, you'll need to roll intuition.
Sure. I got a 1 in that, but sure. Hey!
Oh, nice.
I've got a thing covering... Oh, 12! Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a natural... Well, it's a natural 11. Okay. So, I actually like that Roy is the one who catches it, because I think that it works for a lot of reasons. So, Roy, you know that the data has been corrupted, and you can tell that the corruption doesn't seem like it was a natural corruption. I mean, it's not like this is a thousands of years old chip. This is something that was presumably made in like the past 24 hours. But somebody has gone through and corrupted it, and also knowing that and knowing that Mate said that they were going willingly to this place, and then knowing that kind of puts into perspective the weirdness of the like digital attack signatures that you were seeing, and you're thinking that maybe those digital attacks weren't actual attacks. Maybe it was like a smoke screen to kind of point you guys in the wrong direction. Like somebody was trying to corrupt mate's message and make you guys like think the wrong thing.
Trickery is afoot.
Who would want to do that though? Like who right now has a very specific vendetta against a village of machines?
Roy looks towards Pascal and Bigsby and says, "We may not have the evidence to make the determination right now, but it appears as though the closest we have to a suspect in this situation are those organics that appeared near the truck as we were leaving the tower. For some reason, they wanted us to believe that a digital attack had occurred here. But that doesn't seem to be the case."
Can't believe all of this started over a stolen crown.
And then Roy informs the Pascal, Bigsby, and pretty much everyone else of the object that Roy took for mate at that mansion near the tower.
Are any of those trinkets left here, or is everything gone?
I think that most of it was left behind.
Okay, because that's a worrying thing for Bigsby and Pascal, because they would not leave them. Those are like valued and treasured possessions. So whatever it is that moved them or got them moving, did it in a hurry, but did it in a way that had. This is weird to them because they're not sure why organics would want anything to do with them in this space, but also what is going out of its way to corrupt communications. Like, they're looking to the group now to kind of figure out, like, we don't know what to do next, and we know that you have other things going on right now, but we really would like to find our friends. Any leads that you have, like, we're willing to follow up on them. So if we need to go find like the group of people, we should go look for them.
We should probably find the group of people. We also might want to call in some. Do you think we could call in some help from the Gemini?
Oh yeah, could we get the wombats?
The wombats, yeah, we could. Do you think we could like pull some favors?
I mean, they would certainly be willing to help you, but I don't know what are you talking about help with the investigation?
Yeah, because I'm thinking like if we're just going to like fan out in ships and like scour the landscape for signs of this, the more ships we have, the better, right?
Sure. Okay. Well, maybe we should start by having you guys go back to the Gemini and kind of like regroup and figure out what your next steps are.
Sure.
Everyone agrees with that?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, sure do. That's good.
Okay. Then I'm going to move y'all back over here. And I will grab Bigsby and Pascal as well. Where are they at? These two. Copy. And
this concludes our X-Files investigation scene.
we're gonna have to do some we're gonna have to do like a little bit of cleanup on this map before next game and kind of figure out where everything's going. So I think the first step is let's wrap things up with Esperes. So, okay. So I have everyone on the ship now. You guys park, and then where do you guys want to have the the what comes next conversation? Do you want to do that at the bar? Do you want to just do it in somebody's bedroom?
I think that we should do it on the bridge of the ship because we have information that we're trying to follow. So like we would need access to probably some machines or some kind of sensory stuff.
Before we do that, yeah, let's all meet on the bridge, but I also want to ask Avaline, do you think that we should all go looking for that thing that Mate left, or do you think it's specifically for you and you want to just look for it yourself?
I think I want to go look for that myself, specifically just because he named me and didn't tell the party to go to his room.
Right, that sounds like a good idea. Let's wait on the bridge, have Avaline go retrieve that thing, because that thing might give us the clue we need to make the decisions that we're trying to make.
Okay. So, Mike, I'm gonna have you kind of GM a little bit because I don't know where Mate would have left that. So, you know, you do skill rolls as required. Help walk Avaline through getting that.
Okay, I can do that.
Oh man, I totally think Avaline's the type where she probably walked up and knocked on the door and then was just like, "Oh wait, that's dumb," and then she just walked in.
Yeah, do you have that that weird map for Mate's room?
Yeah, I do. I'm pulling it up now. Oh, here we go. It's this one. Control K, Control Shift O. Let's go nice and big.
I always liked these that you came up with.
Yeah, I like these a lot too. It was fun picking out rooms for everyone. So going to put this on the map layer and then going to okay, there we go. And I'll shuffle some two people around. So you are in their room.
Mate's room is a mess, but it's kind of a controlled mess. And it's one of those things that I think that Avaline would be very aware, like acutely aware of, because it's kind of like sectioned out where things that make sense to be around each other are.
Mm-hmm.
And Avaline's room is kind of like this. Like it's a mess, but it's a mess that you know. So
yes, exactly.
So I have a suggestion. This was literally just like an accident. I happened to have the Siva sprite there. But do you want to have Siva in this scene as well as kind of like a second person?
Absolutely. I think I would be talking to her like, oh man, if I was Mate and I was leaving something for myself, where would I leave it? And she's probably looking at me like, I have no fucking idea who Mate is.
No, Siva knows who Mate is. I don't know that Siva knows their peculiarities, but all right. So, keep going, Mike.
So, other than the remains of distant planets and kind of like other missions that you've been on, I would say the things that kind of stick out the most to you as you come into the room are a bunch of old like energy drink cans, which are not necessary for Mate to live, but they're there. Because sometimes like you would be here, and Mate always wants to kind of be a good host.
Aww.
Uma in a can? What do you need?
Avaline's absolutely cracking open an energy drink while she's looking for this thing, just because it's like, it's here for me. Why not?
They're old though. They're very old.
Yeah, Avaline does not care. She's still got a broken leg and a burnt arm, and she needs to get to the infirmary, so energy drink is just going to have to do for now.
Okay.
I can get a hold of 24 locos.
Just like pre-banned Sparks.
Right.
These went out of production 700 years ago.
Yeah, they mostly taste like dirt, but I'm gonna make it hurt you just because you seem to be used to ingesting stuff like this.
Fantastic.
Around the room, you can kind of see a like myriad of different like newspaper clippings and just like other articles that are pointing to different things that the group has been doing. These don't look to be anything that Mate has done themselves, so I don't know if you want to check on those or if you're kind
Yeah, let's start there and just start going through it, because I feel like just because Avaline and Mate are like so in tune with each other, I think Avaline would be able to tell at a glance like that it wasn't something that Mate would typically do, so it would draw our attention.
So there are a lot of notebooks, and in the back where you see that giant, like, I don't know, like the gold mask. I don't know what species that is. Do you know where that's from?
I have no idea. This is just a piece of art I found.
No, I'm asking Evelyn. Does she know where that's from? Like, would she know the what do you call it? Not the genealogy, but the history of it.
Could I do
provenance?
like I could do like an education roll or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, would that track for wanting to know something about a thing?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the perfect use. And also, we have never used that roll before, so...
How about that? Let's go.
Avaline doesn't know jack shit.
Okay.
I went to college!
Look at it, and you know...
That lecture, that
you
week...
know that it's a mask. And that's it.
Can I pull it off the wall and inspect it more closely?
Yeah, you can. Can you give me what is a good physical?
I think athletics.
Yeah, can you give me some athletics?
Ooh, absolutely.
Avaline is better about finding a thing left in a room than Bren is.
That's true.
Okay, so with a 7, you're gonna get on the bed and you're gonna kind of brace yourself on the headboard. The headboard is a old, cheap headboard from this ancient place on Terran called IKEA. And when you put your foot on the headboard, it rips forward and you rip the mask off and it falls on you. You need to take 3 points of damage. And then you need to take 1 point of psychic damage because it just makes you embarrassed that this happened in front of Siva.
Oh yes, absolutely. Like I imagine Avaline has landed in a heap on the floor and she's just like, oh fuck. And she's like laying there and like Siva just kind of appears above her and she's just looking really disappointed and Avaline's just like, stop, I feel it.
But it's a good thing that you pulled it off the wall because you can now notice that the hinge on the jaw kind of like it moves up and down. Do you want to do anything with that?
Yeah, can I open the hinge on the jaw? See what happens?
Yeah, you sure can. Inside there is a giant red button that says "Do not push."
Oh, I'm absolutely pushing it. Sorry, mate.
You're not even waiting to push it.
Oh, if anything, I spare a look at Siva, who's probably looking at me like, read the instructions. What does it say? And like, I'm keeping eye contact with her and pushing the button.
So that button opens up the closet on the right-hand side of the room where it looks like there should just be clothes, but it actually opens up into a cold storage where the Prothean that Mate had recovered is still in there, kind of on ice. It's deceased, so
Forgot about that.
Yeah, there's no worry about it hurting you right now. But on the Prothean is a series of notations and kind of like different like notes and stuff, and they kind of point to different places all across the galaxy. One note in particular is circled, and you can see a name associated with that, and it just says Samantha ? Can I trust her now?
Interesting.
Interesting. Okay. Wait a minute. We left Samantha with Mate, didn't we?
We
So
can retcon
Samantha-
that. And Samantha come back with the group.
So is Samantha on the Gemini right now?
Samantha should be on the Gemini. If you're cool with doing that, Brandon, because I had it originally that Samantha would have stayed with me, but it would make more sense now thematically to have Samantha on the Gemini.
I mean, here's the thing.
Or is it better that Samantha's not here? Because I can do it another way if we don't want to do
No, I mean, I love the idea of just like playing with the thing that did in fact happen of like we said that Samantha would be there, but I think that it just happened to be that Samantha got called back to look at something on the Gemini because of a I don't know, because the captain needed her signature on something for her room. So she is on the Gemini, and if and when you guys find her and tell her about Mate missing, she knows nothing about that and is shocked and, very concerned.
Did you want to keep checking around the room before you head back to the group?
Yeah, is there anything else of interest on the Prothean, like in the closet that I can see? And just real quick, because you said the note, it says like, Samantha, can I trust her now? Is there anything contained within that note? Like, is there some kind of keyword that's related to the Samantha, can I trust her now, that I can like bring up with her when I go talk to her?
There's nothing there, but if you give me, do we have a perception roll or a
We have investigation.
You have investigation? Can you give me an investigation roll?
Is that intuition? Sorry.
Oh, do we not have investigation? I thought we
Yeah,
did.
is that one you got rid of? What's one for knowing your surroundings? Would that be
Say either perception or intuition, yeah.
Give me which one of yours is higher?
Intuition.
Give me the intuition.
Ooh, finally.
Wow, okay. See, that's why we fail the other ones. So that we can succeed here.
Wow.
With the 15, you notice that again, the weird cipher that Mate set up, which is kind of like your secret language with each other, is kind of pointing you to a series of emails that you go through that were just kind of like weird little innocuous messages where Mate was saying, hey, hi, how are you doing? I'm doing great. Today's a great day. Found this. I found some energy drinks for you. They're old, but you might still like them. And, after perusing, I don't know, let's say 100 emails, you start to see like a connection, like a connective tissue through all of them, which points you to a spot. Now you're going to have to open the casing that the Prothean's in. Mind you, once you open this, it cannot be closed again, and the Prothean is just going to dissolve at some point in the organic matter that it is. But there's a data card kind of like glinting at the back of it, like Resident Evil style.
Fuck yeah.
If you want, you can take the data card, but it's going to destroy the Prothean in the process.
So just to, before we go any further, it is progenitor, not Prothean, but that's...
I've been playing a lot of Mass Effect, so...
Yeah, you're good. Okay.
Yeah. But
Do
yeah,
you
the
do it?
progenitor.
Oh,
Same diff.
man.
Also remember, this is Mate setting up a thing, knowing
Yeah.
that Avaline would come to look.
Yeah, I feel like Avaline's... She probably, she reaches for it and she second guesses it because, she knows that this is, really important to Mate, but then she's just like, he literally set up a bread trail for me. I don't see any other reason why he wouldn't want me to take this, and so I'm going to take the data card out.
And in typical Mate fashion, the, not Prothean, the progenitor, was set up on a rig, old school style, like House on Haunting Hill. to fall forward and fall on you when you reach for the data card.
God!
If you give me a what is that, acrobatics, I'll let you try to dodge it.
I have a broken leg
Not
right now,
bad.
so I'm totally fine with all of my
You know what?
acrobatic rolls being awful.
You got a
With the 10
not
and
bad.
I forgot you had a broken leg and a messed up arm, you dodge it and you can grab the key card or the data card successfully. So you now have the data card that Mate was hiding in the room.
Awesome.
Is there
I'm,
anything else that you want to check before you leave?
I think just one last quick sweep to see if there's anything that like really stands out to me, but otherwise, if there's not anything connected to this, I think I'll probably hobble my way back to the bridge.
So again, on the bed, where the mask is, you kind of see a series of articles that were all written. And you can see very clearly at the top, like all these articles are written by Samantha. There's a lot of like redactions that are in a lot of these reports, and it looks like you can very clearly see that Mate has been going back behind all of the articles before they're being cleared by Samantha for their employer. But there's one article that you see that hasn't been redacted yet, and it's a report from back before we came back from our last mission. Do you want to read it?
Yes, absolutely. What does it say?
It says, haha, I got you fully. It says that there have been a series of complications with reaching out to the team, but it looks like things are moving forward very well now that I as in Samantha, have an N. I'll be reporting back to you shortly. And then it's signed Samantha, and then it's in care of several different corporations that you're not really familiar with. Bren, you're gonna have to help me with this because I can't remember where, like, what
Okay, hold on.
region we said. Should we go in the side chat real quick? Because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
She's Imperial.
Okay.
I think I wrote down in her character sheet what place she works for. Please tell me I did. I did not. I want to say she works for the 22nd Imperial Gazette.
That sounds right. I remember that.
Okay, yeah, it just shoots back to the Imperial Gazette, and then there's a bunch of additional addresses that don't really make sense to you, but you notice that the date of that report correlates to the date that's time-stamped on the data card.
Okay, I'm not going to the bridge. I'm going to find Samantha. Because I'm going to drag her ass to the bridge.
That's very different. All right, Brad, I'm done. I understand why there's a lot of heavy lifting for all the stuff you do.
Yeah, but that was fun. I like I liked that a lot. Maybe I can I might try to have you guys do DMing on like individual portions more often because that was very cool.
I would love to do that
really
a lot
enjoy
more.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you for guiding me through it.
Also-
Before I do leave Mate's room, I am just gonna like grab a sticky note and like leave a little heart note for him for leaving this bread trail for us because it was fantastic.
Okay, thank you. Mate's gonna really appreciate that. All those energy cans, like the energy drinks, are for you. So if you want, you can go ahead and add energy drinks to your inventory.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'll allow, I mean, if Brent is cool with this, that your energy drinks can give you like a +1 to a roll when you use them.
Yeah, it's like a it's like an aspect that you can use up. It's like a like it comes with a free built-in fate point when you use it.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, excellent. So, so Samantha has a bedroom. Is that where you're gonna go look for her, or are you just gonna give her a call?
No, Avaline's gonna go find her physically. So let's start with her bedroom. I'm gonna kick the door in. Is she in there?
Oh, geez.
I have not
Amazing.
considered that, but sure. You know what? For plot purposes, let's say yeah. Samantha's in there, and she is writing up an article on her laptop.
Okay, I'm gonna walk into the room. I'm gonna yoke her up by the scruff of her shirt, and I'm gonna drag her to the bridge.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Are you going to teleport her to the bridge, or are you going to drag her the
No,
whole way?
she's getting physically dragged through the Gemini to the bridge so everyone can see this.
So while
Yeah.
this is happening, just to make it a little bit funnier, the rest of the party is waiting on the bridge right now, just like, where the hell is Avaline?
And yeah, because this
What
is gonna
is
take a
taking
little while because she's
so
hobbling.
long?
Yeah, there's
Roy
some-
actually got on the intercom and was just like, Avaline, to the bridge, please.
That's good Foley work. Thank
No
you.
slaps. Just come, please, to the bridge.
Yeah, it's you guys are just sitting on the bridge, and the fucking elevator music is playing. Got some little da 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 da.
Yep.
Okay.
I like that show, Helix.
So, I think that after like a minute of her saying like, "What is this all about?" she finally just makes peace with the fact that she'll know what it's about when you get her there, and so she kind of just kind of follows along behind you awkwardly. All right, so you get to the bridge. How do you guys want to handle this?
I imagine that Avaline just kind of finally arrives and just throws Samantha into the room so she's in the center of everybody.
Well, I have some questions.
What a
But-
surprise! The organics are at each other's throats.
I found some stuff in Mate's room. Pretty telling. I thought maybe we should have a conversation with Samantha about it.
Okay,
Samantha,
so
do you have anything to tell us?
yeah, so Samantha is going to sit up, and I think she rubs her wrist while you were dragging her, and she says, "Hold on, let me get the scene set correctly." So first of all, we can make this small, put it over to the side, send it to the GM layer, take this one, make it nice and big,
Oh boy.
send to front,
Oh yeah, this is a good map.
Control O. So we've got her there. We've got Samantha. Since this is the like, what do we do next meeting, then I'm guessing Esperez and Grace is there too, which is certainly going to prompt some conversations. But I think that you guys have just been kind of telling people to like hold off while you get this figured out. We've got your two robot buds. We've got Ruda and Roy, and Anwar is kind of hanging around in the back. Am I missing anyone? Captain Ilya and her first mate are there, and they're both kind of just a little bit frustrated that you've just kind of made this into like your space, but they're fine. They're gonna focus on doing their stuff. I think they're used to your shit at this point.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so Avaline, you had ended that with saying like, do you have something to say? Is that what
Yeah.
you said?
Basically, I just said, like, I found some stuff in Mate's room. It's kind of pointing some weird fingers at Samantha, so I think we should have a conversation with Samantha and, about her employer and some other things.
Okay, so yeah, Samantha rubs her wrists and she says, what were you doing in Mate's room, and why isn't Mate here?
I'm going to kind of while these questions are being asked, I'm going to like awkwardly shuffle over to Roy. I'm like, Roy, are we supposed to be torturing her? I'm confused.
Roy looks at Amil and says, I believe in organic's daily existence is torture. However,
Oh my God.
and he like undoes the
Whoa.
clasp on his blade.
Wow, I actually chose the wrong gift. We are the bad guys.
Okay, so
I'm going to look at Samantha and I'm just going to say, like, will you tell us what we want to know because your existence is torture?
Okay.
I think Samantha says
I'm making me Space Merle real hard right now.
she shakes her head and says, "All right, hold on. One thing at a time. Where's Mate?"
Yeah, y'all, where's mate?
You're answering a question with a question. Why?
Yeah.
Because
Same thing. We can play this game all day.
Because the information that you're asking for is a private matter between myself and Mate, as indicated by the fact that you found information about it while digging through Mate's room, which I don't know how comfortable they would be with that. So
I'm Mate's best friend, so you don't need to
I'm
question
sure
that.
that's fine. Where's Mate?
Where
I'm
do you
concerned.
think Nate is?
Wow.
Yeah, where do you think
Very
he is,
angry
Samantha?
looking emoji face on.
Oh my god, I forgot you guy
Yeah,
could do that.
Yeah.
Angry emoji.
Bixby and Pascal are kind of beside themselves because they're not really sure how to react in this situation, and they're kind of just like basically playing the digital version of Pong back and forth to try to figure out like who should say something. Like, are we in danger?
Yeah.
This group seems to blow up a lot, like for no reason.
I
This
mean,
seems like caustic.
I mean, just because I like undid the buckle on my blade doesn't mean that I'm gonna use it. It was
Like,
just, you know.
Yeah, but it's a little bit of a worry when someone's like, "Hey, we don't know what's happening here. Hey, do you want to die today?" Yeah, they're not sure what to do. But
I think if anything, I'm just going to like I don't want to give her all of the information. So it's a thing of like I'm willing to tell her that we don't know where Mate is right now, and we are asking her these questions specifically because we don't know where he is.
Okay, that's fair. I was gonna say if like none of y'all want to do it, Pascal might just blurt out, "We're trying to find your friend now too."
Yeah. Okay, no, I like that a lot. So,
Roy don't trust her.
Okay, so when you guys say that Mate is missing, Samantha gets a little like nervous and she says, "Okay, all right, so Mate's missing, and I'm guessing Mate had some information about their relationship with me in their room, and that's why you guys are suspecting me?" Question mark?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a loose cannon, but I see names and I see suspicious shit, and I just move. So here we are.
Roy smiles the creepiest, fakest, I don't know how to smile that he could possibly muster.
Okay.
He just says, continue.
Okay, so she goes over and she grabs a chair. I think there's a kind of like conference room that is adjacent to the deck, so she kind of settles down in there and she says, "All right, so I'm trying to decide what I can tell you that isn't treason."
What?
Treason.
Reason.
How about
treason?
reason? Do we want to? I'm kind of like internally asking, like, do we want to play hardball and just force her to commit treason? Because it's not treason to us; it's treason to her. I don't care about her relationship with the Imperium. Like, I'm not even a fan of the Imperium.
Yeah, I mean, to me, yeah, because like, okay, what's the consequence for treason?
Can we lie to her?
Huh?
Can we lie to her? We can always just tell her the Gemini is its own airspace. Basically, we could just say like,
international waters, basically.
yes. While you are on our ship, you are under our jurisdiction. So I don't care about treason where you're from. Like, You need to worry about getting off of this ship, so you should just answer our questions.
Okay. No, I like that. I think somebody needs to make a persuasion roll, and I think it should be Avaline.
On the way.
Evelyn just points to the airlock.
Persuasion would be...
Do we not have one called persuasion?
No,
No.
we've got diplomacy.
Guile, I think, would be closest to persuasion.
Well, so Guile
am
would
gonna
be
trick
appropriate if you were trying to trick her,
Or
but
intimidate.
yeah, so you could do intimidation or
We don't have an intimidator, I
Guile.
don't think.
Yeah,
But
basically,
I think that diplomacy would probably be the best one because you're making a solid logical argument. You're not trying to trick her or threaten her or coerce her. You're telling her the truth.
Is that true though? Like, I don't know. Within the canon of our universe, is it true that that ships like this basically have their own intergalactic space rules?
So, she can still be held accountable from the Imperium for what she does on this ship, but nobody on this ship is going to hold her account. Basically, there's nobody
Gotcha.
around who cares.
Gotcha.
Is the argument. Okay, so an 8 is not great. I always struggle with what to do when someone fails a roll. I'm gonna defer to something they do in Monster of the Week and some of the other Apocalypse World games, which is she'll tell you what you want to know if you give her some
Yeah, what's like the concrete assurance?
Yeah, she needs some kind of something from you, either some kind of bribe or some kind of okay, here's what I will say. Here's what I think makes the most sense. You can either offer her some assurance of protection or offer her some, you could go with mate. You can play off of her concern for mate and her relationship with mate and try to compel her based on the very real danger to mate right now.
Avaline's gonna pull out Siva and slice open her wrist, and she's going to
Oh boy.
ask for Samantha's hand. Be like, give me your hand. Give it. Give it. Give it. Give it.
Okay.
And I'm like, not gonna
Now-
stop saying that until she hands her hand over.
Clear. She's not deeply cutting her wrist. She is doing like a cut across
I'm basically
the palm kind
I'm
of thing.
attempting to do, yes, a bond blood promise. I swear to protect you on this blood promise if you tell me what I want to fucking know.
Okay, so she's doing her palm, not her wrist.
Yeah, I was doing my palm.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Samantha hesitates for a second and then shakes your hand and she says, "Okay, for mate." So,
Roy leans over to Amil and says, "Witness the exchange of blood. This is curious."
so several weeks ago, after you guys agreed to take me on the ship and let me be a reporter for you guys, I had a conversation with Mate because Mate was the person who was responsible for checking the papers that I wrote. You guys remember that arrangement?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. She says, "So, I talked with Mate about this because it was something that I didn't think that we, as a group," and she gestures to everyone in the room, "were close enough to talk about yet, and I trusted Mate's judgment. So, I never lied to you. I am a reporter for the 23rd Imperial Gazette. I am also a personal assistant to the Primarch Celine. And in my journalistic work, I sometimes send information directly to her. I informed Mate about this, and Mate agreed to allow it because Mate... Yeah, Celene. Because Mate genuinely believed, as I do, that I have the group's best interest in mind. I convinced Mate, and I'm hoping you will defer to Mate's judgment. None of this is to hurt you guys. In fact, I think my employer wants to make you a job offer, which is why she had me investigating you.
Is there any particular... Well, okay. I feel like Avaline's gonna ask this question, and then she's probably gonna, like, half realize the answer after she asks it, but if Celine wanted our help with something that badly, why didn't she come to us herself?
So Samantha shakes her head and says, well, 2 reasons. One, she's a Primarch, and any person that she contacts she is under supervision. She is under surveillance constantly. Everything she does is known by somebody. So if she had come to you guys, then people would know that she had come to you guys, and you wouldn't work very well as whatever service she needs from you.
Spies?
Possibly. I don't know the details of the job. However, okay, so the first thing was she couldn't come here personally. The other thing is that she has I believe she is investigating a few different candidates for this job, and she couldn't the nature of this job is one that is very delicate, and she needed to make sure that whoever she hired is somebody that is not associated with the Empire, but that she can trust, and more importantly, somebody that is a group of good people who will do the right thing because it's the right thing. So that's why I've been, reporting about you guys to her.
I feel ways about.
I do too. I still have some questions.
As do I.
Yeah, no, listen, I understand that. I've done my fair share of on the ground fieldwork reporting, and I have heard people's opinions on the governmental bodies of the Empire.
See, my experience with the Empire is one Primarch agrees to do something for you one day, then cedes territory to another Primarch as part of another larger political dispute, and now you're under the one Primarch, and then that Primarch has different plans for your home system, and it's not out and out like it's the Primarchs. The Primarchs are we are pawns to the Primarch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel great about it.
Well, and I think that if and when she decides to reach out to you, then you can have that conversation with her about that. I will note that I wouldn't be working for her if it was any other Primarch. I genuinely, personally believe that Celine is a good person who is one of the few good people in power and is genuinely trying to maintain as much goodness as can be maintained in this system. Can somebody make an education roll, and I'll tell you guys bit about Celine.
How does Auntie Grace feel right now? Hearing this information.
Yeah.
I think Auntie is somebody who very much, if she doesn't know for sure where she stands about something, she
Nice.
kind of clams up and waits. So she might have her own opinions, but she's not communicating any of them. I'm pulling up my notes on this. What did you roll?
12.
12 is very good. Okay, so things you know about the Primarch Celine. Celine is the only female Primarch. Like all of the others, she was a clone of the Emperor, but decided to transition. She is okay, so with what roll was it? Was it a 13? It was a 12? Okay. So I'm just gonna read to you directly what I have out of my notes for her. She's the most socially accepting dominion in the Empire. Selena's region is often sought out as sanctuary from oppressed groups in the rest of the Empire. Politically, she often pushes for social justice reform against her more conservative brothers. She manages the Humanitorium, which is the governmental branch that manages social services. So, housing, human resources, adoptions, veteran affairs, etc. And her main political rivals are Trajan, the Primarch of War, because she
reasons.
yes, constantly fights against war, and several of the other like Creostro, who is the religious Primarch. She butts heads with him a lot. So the general consensus is Celine is I designed her to be a little bit of like a like an AOC kind of character, like a legitimately good person in a bad system that does not excuse her of like her complacency in the system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of the sentence.
Not gonna go any further.
That's it. That's like
God, please
that's all
don't
there
go
is.
off with a
better
3-hour
to
political
have a good
diatribe.
person in government than to not have a good person in government. But she is still corrupted by the fact that she is in government, and she, like, you know.
That is my kind of like hang-ups about working for a Primarch, is that even the good Primarchs will make a decision that involves like, well, for the greater good, I'm going to give this one, in order to save 4 systems, I'm going to give this one system up.
Yeah.
And that might be the correct decision, but it's not if you live on that one system.
Exactly. Yes.
What other leads does the group have at this point that we can kind of like chase after? Is it literally just following up with Samantha?
Are we we're pivoting back to what happened with Mate?
I think that Roy would advocate for putting Samantha in the brig and keeping her there until we discuss things with the Primarch Celine. He's not 100% against any kind of interaction with her.
That's messed up. What happened to the last person we put in the brig?
Well, I mean, this is what happens when you lie. Don't lie.
We're not going to put her in the brig.
Why?
Because she's under my watch. I blood promised, so I have to fucking protect her.
What does Roy care about your blood promises?
Well, Roy's gonna fucking care if he doesn't want to get robo-kicked, so shut up. Anyways.
He's gonna face slap me.
I don't care. I do have a question for Samantha. Is Celine like, I know that she probably doesn't, like, she can't tell us specifically why Celine is doing this, and I understand that she's operating secretively because of, like, being a Primarch and stuff, but the whole being watched thing stood out to me. Does Celine feel that her life is in danger, or does she have any specific idea of who in the government is watching her?
So Celine, does not feel that her life is in danger because she is one of the 10 most powerful entities in the living universe. So she doesn't think that she personally is in much danger from anybody short of a like planetary destruction weapon
or like a demon lord.
Yes. In fact, her brothers are personally fighting the demon lords. But at the same time, she doesn't. The consequences of something bad happening for her are very big and don't usually involve damage to her personally. It's like if she has a plan that could save, billions of lives, and somebody else finds out about that plan and does something to disrupt it, then she fails to save those lives. That is why she's concerned. That's why she's always very careful. But no, she does have people who, like, she has had assassins come after her many times, usually from other factions, because people within the Empire have generally figured out you can't kill Primarchs. Like, it just doesn't work. But some of the other factions are still figuring that out.
So like, not network, but like, what's the war like?
Yeah, so the Krell Sovereign.
Yeah, the Krell might send an assassin.
Yeah.
Got it.
Stuff like that. Okay, so Samantha, I think, puts her hands on the table and she says, okay, all of that information was to make you understand that I have had nothing to do with why Mate is missing, and I am just as concerned as you all are.
Well,
I want to help.
Sounds like Mate might have just gone to talk to Celine.
I think her eyes, she looks down for a second and she says, I would hope that if he was doing that, he would have told me. He didn't.
Well, he certainly did leave in a hurry.
So she looks at the rest of the group and she says, all right, so we need to find Mate. What do we have so far?
Not that much.
Yeah, some names. We have the data card.
Is Samantha aware of the data card?
The data card you guys got on the planet?
No, the data card from Mate's
I got
room.
from the progenitor.
She was not.
Yeah, I don't. It's like I don't want to show my entire hand. I'm concerned about telling her about it. So if she doesn't think that Mate went to talk to Celine because she would have hoped that he would have done it by telling her first, does she have any idea where he would have gone?
So she hesitates for a second and then says, well, so the part of my agreement with Mate was that in exchange for him keeping my secret, I would help him to investigate something. An entity known as the Veiled Woman. So I have found some information about her, and I believe that, I found some information that he could use to contact her, which happened about a week ago before you guys went planetside. So maybe that? And then she kind of shrugs.
And the Veiled Woman. Okay.
Does everybody remember who the Veiled Woman is?
I do.
So the Veiled Woman is she's a member of a kind of like a cult that is trying to bring back the progenitors, and
right.
Mate has been in communication with her on several occasions. So, okay, so I think that the group goes around for a while, and the consensus is that without without being able to recover the coordinates that that were in that message that that Mate left behind, there's not going to be much they can do to find him. So the best thing that you guys can do to find him will be to just throw a lot of resources into trying to shit, I'm forgetting a word. When data is corrupted. Okay.
Recovery.
Yeah, trying to recover the coordinates from that message, which could take several days. So while that is happening, maybe we should wrap up what's happening with Esperez and Auntie Grace, and
Yeah.
you know, and then there's nothing we can really do except wait.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So are we just taking it to the Gemini supercomputer, and the supercomputer is just gonna plug away through the bits that are present on the drive to try to undo the corruption?
Mm-hmm.
It just has to run for a while.
Yes. So so I want to do we're going to kind of step back a bit narratively and do kind of an overview of what happens for the end of the chapter. Esperez thanks you guys for the help with his mission. You did find his father. He will be eternally grateful for that, and for having the not only the knowledge of what happened to him, but also the knowledge of who he, Esperez, is as a person. He has a new sister now that he's going to be staying in touch with, and he's going to take the body back to his family and see that they bury it, and then, well, he'll figure out what happens from there. He's honestly, at this point, he's still a child, and even though he has some weird heritage that he's going to have to wrap his head around at some point, he's kind of all right with just being a child for a while longer. So the mech, as promised, can stay with the group, and it seems like Roy has taken a liking to it. So Roy can keep that thing.
I'm gonna try to do some more. I'm gonna
Incohatus.
be the one that takes the lead on fixing the mechanical systems in it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can probably work together.
Yeah.
On that. Okay, so things that are going to happen during, and this is basically going to form the structure of our next interludes section. Amil and Roy are going to work on repairing the what's that? Incohatus. The
Yep.
incohatus. Grace talks with the captain, and Grace, with your permission, would like to stay with you guys, and that brings us to Bigsby and Pascal. Grace is going to stay with Bigsby and Pascal. What are they doing now that the village is empty?
I think
They'd
they
stay
would
with us,
stay
wouldn't they?
until they find at least some kind of closure as to what happened with their friends. Like, they're not happy with losing any more friends right now. So and they feel responsible for having left the group and with Mate, and kind of want to like close the loop on that.
Yeah. I imagine that Bigsby and Pascal will be working alongside the Gemini's computer to kind of repair that data.
Yeah.
Um, so that covers most of it. And then since the beans have already kind of been spilled, with the party's permission, Samantha wants to reach out to Celine and formally get the introduction between you guys, so that if you know, if you accept her job or, refuse her job or whatever, then it, get that over with.
Yeah, but she's not allowed to tell Selena roughed her up.
She won't tell Celine anything. She'll just, and I mean, she'll like let you look at the message before she sends it, but it's literally just going to be like a, like, we need to talk, call me at this time, kind of thing.
Fantastic.
So
Roy is super hostile towards Samantha now, and they have to be separated. Roy is not cool with the ease of which her story was accepted and how our moves towards Salim are all being based on trust towards somebody who has admitted that they lied to us.
Yeah.
So
pretty much
he's doing all this under protest and is still advocating for her to be put in the brig. And, I mean, he's not doing anything to actively like harm or put our party's plans in confusion or change them, but it's just like he's not going to participate with her in a non-hostile fashion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm very
Additionally,
interested
this has
in
also
something.
made his position toward all of the organics that are on the ship a little bit more strained, because he thinks that, much in the fashion that he thought about Mate earlier, he thinks that their decision making is in serious error, and he doesn't know why. So he's also been like doing this sneaky little thing where he's like watching people and investigating them and writing notes down on them, like when they turn around and see him, he's like, oh, I wasn't doing anything, but he's like trying to analyze everybody on the ship and figure out what's wrong with them.
So I think this is a very interesting character moment for Roy. One of the things I'm very interested in is, now I could be misinterpreting this, but it feels like Roy is taking the Samantha, like, essentially just withheld information from you guys, and
yeah, and now we're missing part of our crew.
I know. So the thing that is interesting to me is that Roy is incredibly pro-lying and pro-deception. Pretty much always. But Roy is very upset when it is directed at him.
Oh yeah. It's similar to how like somebody who's cheating on somebody else flips out about the other person possibly cheating on them.
Yeah.
He is a skilled liar, deceiver, and interrogator, and when somebody does it to him, he gets not angry per se, but it's like oh, game on. Okay, so this isn't like an interaction between friends. This is an interaction between opponents.
Yeah. No. Okay. All right. This is very interesting. Okay. Cool. So that is that's where we're going to leave that for today, and we will the next game we'll do the all of those interactions that we went over, as well as our final galactic politics for part 1, and then we will go into part 2. So that will be the next time we play. Now, I had been proposing that for our next game, our next time we get together, we do a character creation for next season so that I can be kind of like, prepping stuff while we
don't
do
know what other people's schedules are, but I'm on honeymoon vacation next week.
Oh, right. We don't have to do it next week, but
well, I'm just saying you could do it next week because then you can just meet with me.
That's true.
In person because it's easier for us to get together.
Yep.
So if you wanted to do the character creation next week, that would be perfect.
So but at the same time, I think this is a good opportunity to kind of go over like what we're looking at for next season in general. So I have the direction that I have been leaning and that I've been prepping for is this next season being a Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition, very high fantasy world that still involves world hopping, kind of like Spacefare has, but is very much focused on base building and more of the like domestic life of the characters.
Yeah.
The other option we could do is we could go straight into Spacefare Season 2. Either way we do it, when we come back for after the end of Part 1, there's going to be a time skip before we come back to Part 2 because we basically need time for the next set of like personal conflicts to gestate and ruminate.
Right.
Yeah. So how's everyone feeling about that?
I'm feeling good.
I could honestly go either way. I think it would be cool to have a variety of going back to like the fantasy realm, but I really love this story, and I love Spacefare, and I'm on the fence.
Yeah,
so I think
I'm of the side where I want to continue with Spacefare. I want to have a more closure and continuity because I feel like if I start another character in another campaign, then that character is going to just be a shadow of both Sabek and Roy. Like I put a lot of myself into my characters, I guess. So when like I'm doing one, it's just like my thoughts are all on that one, and when I change that up, then it starts to muddy what I'm doing from my own character. But that's just me.
Yeah, Roy's kind of an interesting thing because I kind of built the pacing so that we would solve so there were a number of like overarching conflicts that I wanted to resolve, like probably the silliest and most like seemingly trivial one is Avaline's relationship with boys. And then like Ruda and
Ruda's relationship with wrestling.
Ruda's relationship with wrestling and with,
working out,
and with just Elfin culture in general, which has kind of been addressed in the chapter where we got Anwar, and then now I didn't have any real personal like conflicts I was able to build up with for Amil, except I have something I'm planning on doing with the Nova in the near future.
Yay.
And then Mate's story is also like kind of wrapping up, so it's like either way we're definitely like done with this batch of stories as of next chapter, so we're going to need to give it time for like to set up new stories. So if we do go into to like straight into Spacefare Part 2 and we just do like a time skip, I would encourage people to like make new characters or we're going to do a time skip, so if they want to
play the same character,
evolve their character in some way over that time period,
add a lot of variation and new character development.
And if we go that direction, I would probably want to switch to a system other than Fate. So I was thinking about maybe doing like Starfinder, but I would have to to look at what kind of options are out there.
Yeah, it honestly comes down to how strongly the group feels about the idea of continuing Spacefare now, and how long it would take for you to kind of come up with like the concepts and overarching story that you would need for the next season post time skip. Or do you have a lot kind of already in the hopper for the fantasy setting?
So, for either the fantasy setting or for the continued Spacefare Part 2, both of those are going to be very procedural. So I have been doing some amount of prep lately, but it's not prep of like, you know, specific places in the world or anything. It's just like writing down different ideas for the kinds of things that could come up when you're like rolling on a random table. That and a fair amount of that would be convertible because Spacefare is already fantasy sci-fi. So I mean, I will say I've been so I brought this up because Zai is very interested in sticking with Spacefare, it feels like, and I am on board.
If nobody else really cares, then I'm not going to be a stick in the mud or anything.
No, I love my character. My biggest concern moving forward is whether or not something like that ends up holding back what could be a interesting setting or an interesting set of stories if I continue with Mate. Like, I think it really honestly comes down to what happens in our like the next chapter, right?
Yeah.
And whether or not I feel like does that come to a conclusion where I feel like, do I need more Mate? Like, I felt like Wex, I was able to leave in a space that made sense for his character and his development at the time. So it didn't really make sense to be like, hey, like if we did go back to that would be great. But I'm like, I don't know what else that dude does. Like, it feels like he had his natural opportunity to kind of progress through his life, and it's like, hey, he rolled off into the sunset, and then like the anime credits roll, and the Hulk music starts to play.
So you guys are currently at the same place in the campaign right now that you guys were at last season when you fought the fire giants and Zai's character fucking died.
Yeah, so it's almost like we're almost at a wrap point.
And I think that I am more equipped to wrap up the story now in this season than I was at that point in last season. And I think that last season, I think the stories were like overall resolved pretty like at a pretty good point. We had to squeeze some things in during that like epilogue bit, but we would be doing something like that with this as well, where the epilogue bit is the next, I don't know, 10 years or whatever, as we, go over the time skip stuff before next season, before the next part.
Yeah, 10-year jump. 10-year jump
the
was
group
interesting.
Yeah, does the group want to continue with that? Like, does that hurt you as far as like wanting to tell a different story?
So, in general, I have found just from like watching other people's D&D podcasts and stuff like that, and I have kind of found this with experience, is that if you stick with a group of characters for too long, eventually things kind of stagnate. There's a golden point, which is like 10 sessions in, is like the peak of the campaign. That's when so the characters are created, they all have their own like secrets, they don't know each other, and we haven't figured out their dynamics. We haven't explored the mystery of the world and stuff like that. And then about 10 sessions in is when you get to the point where like you're no longer a stranger to this setting, but also you're starting to answer those questions, and it's very exciting. And then when you get to like 40 sessions in, it's like, well, the character dynamics aren't really shifting anymore, and there's not that many like world mysteries to figure out, and it's like, it's fine, it's good, you're still doing adventures, you're still like seeing new stuff, but that big macro like that big macro stuff is slowing down, and that's where I was hoping that by doing a kind of pivoting to a different setting, we could, you know, get that new energy of like exploring new ideas and setting up new characters to see how their character dynamics interplay and stuff like that, and then come back to Spacefare. But that's where, if we did decide to just go straight into Spacefare Part 2, that's where I would highly encourage people to make new characters anyway, because I think that seeing how new characters interact with each other is like golden. It's very good.
Yeah, I can understand that, and for me, it comes down to just being able to kind of be in this space and hang out with y'all. So if it turns into we do another campaign, or we just get together on Sundays for a little bit and play Mario Party, I don't care. Like, as long as it turns into us having some time to, like, this is really my, like, end of week unwind, and this very much so helps. So if we're going to do another campaign, I'm cool with that, as long as I know that the group is fine continuing with this. Like, this gives me a cool activity to do on the weekend, so.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anyone wants to lose this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might, if I made a new character, I might go Guardians of the Galaxy Baby Groot route.
Oh,
And
okay.
it will be my same character, but I will have regressed to it. It's like playing yourself it's like reverting yourself back to 17. You're a different person. It's a new, it's a new character.
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so honestly, we can do like, it's this. I have the same amount of stuff prepared for either. So maybe what we should do is we do
Make a poll about it?
So I think here's what I think makes the most sense. We do so this game is done, and we're gonna leave in just a couple minutes. Our next session will be a character building session for Shards in the Sky, and we'll see like what kind of interesting stuff we can come up with for that, and see, you know, how all of that is feeling. And then we come back, we do the final chapter of Spacefare, and depending on how that ends, we can then then we do a poll, and we decide like, well, do we want to continue this story, or, you know, try out these other stories with these characters that we have set up?
Sure.
Okay, are we still going to do another space politics game, or do we not go back to the galactic board?
Nope, we'll do the galactic board. That will be the first half of...
Those are some of my favorite games.
Yeah, so that will be the game after the character building session.
Okay, cool. That works for me. When will you be back from your honeymoon, Kevin?
I come back that Sunday. I have to figure out the actual time, because it might be... The thing is I'm pretty sure I come back on that Sunday, but the train has Wi-Fi, and I'm in my own... Nicole and I have our own car. Not like whole car to ourselves, but we have like a room.
Because that would be cool.
That would be fucking cool, yeah. No, we have a room, which is we're hoping that it's the nice way of traveling, even though it takes like 4 times as long. But we're hoping it's like more relaxing than being on planes during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So if I'm not back Sunday, I will probably be able to the 20th. I mean, I will probably be able to play from the train.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Okay. If that ends up not being a thing, I wouldn't press our luck. Like, you should be able to enjoy your time.
Yeah.
Could we push for maybe the week after? If things are looking good for people, we could probably throw up a poll and figure out when the next game makes sense.
I can do any Sunday. So I mean, I think it would be maybe we try for this Sunday, and I can do just a call separately with Kevin if needed.
Yes.
And if things don't work out this Sunday, then we go for the next one. Does anyone have anything they know for sure they're going to be doing this upcoming Sunday?
Good from here on out.
Okay.
My mom really wants me to come down and visit her, but that requires me to do logistical stuff, which is a pain in the ass. So I keep putting it off, but I'm just saying that it's on my mind.
Okay. So it should happen at some point then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to go down and visit her within the next month, and the best day for me to do that is on Sunday.
Okay.
Okay. So
How far are you gonna have? How far is it down there?
Oh, it's just about like 80 miles. She lives like right outside of DC.
Oh, gotcha.
well, let's actually go ahead because we're so that's 2 people who are going to be semi-busy next Sunday, and I mean we've been going at a good pace lately. Let's just skip the 13th and do our next thing on the 20th.
Okay.
Okay. That works for me.
Cool.
All right. I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to see my mom next week.
But we're gonna leave it open for you. So if you decide that you want to, you
Word,
can't say
alright.
I have a game.
No, I'm gonna try to talk myself into it, and
Okay.
I don't have that excuse. So.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. Cool. Well then
So are we wrapped?
that covers it. That's a wrap.
Yep.
Word.
Cool
Alright, y'all.
beans.
Good game.
All right.
Bye,
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you. This was an awesome
ya.
game. Thanks.
Yes, it was fun. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Catch y'all next.
See you guys.
See ya. Have a good week.